Welcome back. In the shop, this just got back. I figured we'd do a quick update on the chipper getting rebuilt, how that's coming along. Since we talked last, all the feed wheels, bottom feed wheels are in, the top feed wheels are in actually. We just have to put the yokes in. So this is what the yokes look like. Sets in here just like this. These go up underneath. There's two holders for them up there, and the outer pins, and then that goes like that, yada yada yada. So you get these all fixed up. We had to fix a couple things on them. The one thing was it didn't have an adjustment on these plates, so we put the adjustment bolt on there. How that works is it's easy to adjust out here, but when it's up in the machine, it's really hard to work on. So try to get everything as simple and as best as you can before it goes in there. And then everything usually, hopefully, holds together the longest. Because when you get in there, say this chain comes off because one of these pop off, or who knows what happens, you take that bolt and it pushes this whole plate. You loosen the plate up, and then it pushes the whole plate backwards. And it's a little easier to do than a pry bar if you have like a, when it's in the machine. Because it's easy to adjust when it's out of the machine. It's not easy to adjust at all when it's in the machine. So got those put on. And the next problem we had that these were sticking out too far. Just a couple things we had to fix. If these stick out too far out here, the edges here, and then these can hit the edges of the walls if everything's not super tight, and then it knocks these off. And then once this comes apart in there, there is not enough room when it's in there to fix them. So you have to pull the whole thing out. So just getting everything buttoned up perfect, so when it goes back in there, it's all ready to go. That's what we're working on now. They're working on now. I believe just about every hose has been replaced. The only ones that haven't is some of your returns, which they weren't dry rotted, none of that, so they'll last a while. They just drain back to the tank. Those ones probably were not replaced. Might replace some of them, but more than likely no. But as you can tell, those are all new hoses, and this was pre-painting, this is after painting, as you can tell. So feed wheel bearings all in there, all new. Yeah, so what we'd have to do now is there's a bunch more hoses that go through here, and it's your suction lines that run through here that run up to that gearbox, or your hydraulic motors up there, or your pumps, hydraulic pumps up on a little motor. But we had a problem with the gearbox and the engine coming together right, so that's getting fixed right now. Getting some parts machined. I believe they weren't quite jiving like they should be. But as you can tell, these are two return lines. Everything else has been replaced. I see they replaced these. These were good because I noticed these the other day. We're rubbing here on that lip. So it's nice to see them take time to do it right. I'll show you what they did. Because whenever you get, see this here, he did it here too, and right here, because when these rub against that steel, they'll cut a hole in it, because you got a giant vibrating chipper. And so when you see stuff like that, it's nice, because that means that they took the time to protect them, and that just extends the life of them a long time. Keeps operators happy when stuff lasts longer. So we'll jump to the other side. So what we got going on over here is, I'll show you the yokes are all done over here. The valve bank is rebuilt. It needed rebuilt because what happened was, a long time ago, many moons ago when I was running it, I loaded a truck. It wasn't our truck, it was a subcontractor. He managed to catch this right here, and what he did was, I had him loaded. I said, "You're loaded," and he put it in reverse. And when you have a loaded truck, Just the slightest bump will do a bunch of damage. And he missed this guard here, this protector, and caught that, and actually bent my, if you could look right here, you see how this is kind of janked up right here, and this is actually bowed up because it bent it up, bent the valve bank up, the rod's going through it. I guess I had to change some stuff, but hopefully that's all fixed, because the main problem I had was when you're up in the cab, you couldn't do these front stiff legs because that was the valve that was hard to pull, so you couldn't do it electronically like you're supposed to up in the cab. So hopefully that'll be fixed, because it's nice to adjust that sometimes when you're up in the cab, if need be, when you're on a job starting off. But somebody backed up into that. His name was John too. I don't know, that surprised me. A lot of stories there. So anyways, we just unbolted it, had it set there, and that made it a little better. But be nice to have that valve bank. It's completely fixed, but as you can tell, hoses are labeled and done. We got a bunch of steel here, and that goes for all right here to put these on there. So yeah, as you can tell, hosing, they're all done. Hosing up there, it's all done, and these are actually for the brakes. For any of you truck people, we're going to put these brakes on them. It's an enclosed cam tube system. Okay, that's what we're dealing with now. I'll talk about this for a second and explain how this happens and why we're doing it. Because with a normal S cam in here, okay, I'll show you the problem. When you're in here, this right here is a problem area because of that right there. They have holes. I'm not sure if we sealed them or not, underneath that feed wheel, and bark, garbage falls straight down, and it's right in this axle, and then this all fills up in here with garbage. And then while you're in the winter, when you're ready to go somewhere, you move jobs, those S cams are completely froze up with stuff in there, and so you basically have to pull the chipper out of the hole, and then you have to get in here, beat it with a hammer in the middle of winter, crawl up underneath here, clean everything out to get this brake to release. So basically the hardest part is you have the chipper sitting on a job for say a month, you have crap built up all around it, especially on the other side, and you have to break this thing free with the brakes locked up on that axle, and it is not easy. So that being the new tube system, we're hoping that'll take care of that problem, and we won't have that brake problem like we had before, because trying to get this thing to budge with the brakes locked up is not fun. So that's the idea on fixing that. That's what those are for, which is exciting. And then the yokes are all ready to go in. New feed wheel teeth, sharper than a pencil. Okay, and that's no joke. And that we were waiting on these and the sprockets. They got those in. Adjusters are all fixed. That's nice. And if you're new around here, you can see that slot right there and that slot right there. This is a bigger one that sits back there. This is close to the chipper disc. This one sits in right there. So look at that. That's legit. Them things are they're mean. So hopefully here, I was talking to the guy here at the shop, and he's figuring the next week they'll be able to pull this out, lift both of them in, and then we have to call a crane in to come put the chipper disc back in. So once we get those in here, then we have to use all that steel to build new brackets, and we'll make a different video about that, because the brackets are going to be way better than the factory. We're going to revert to the old style, so we'll do a video on that later. But the chipper's coming together, and hosing is done. One more thing, and then we got to put the conveyor on, and cab and loader and spout and clutch belts for the big chipper disc guards, yada yada yada. Well, I'll do that. So thanks for watching, and chipper update. Just keep rolling.